G'day, guys, and welcome to the Thunder from Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Graham Solomon. And as always, if you're not part of the family and you're watching for the first time, jump into the Graham Solomon Thunder from Down Under YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button, become part of the family. And also hit the like and the love button if you're on Facebook, because I've got a very special guest who is a veteran. This is his second time he's been on in the Thunderdome with me. The first time was about a year and a half ago, and he's coming on to tell us about what he's been able to achieve since then. So without further ado, I'll introduce Jason Malibu. Malibu Property LLC is his business, and he is a real estate investor, and he is a great bloke. He loves Australian rules footy. We've talked about that before. So without further ado, Jason, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Graham, thank you so much for having me back. Really appreciate that.
Oh, mate, it's always a pleasure. When you reached out, I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to talk to you. What you've been up to? Let's get you in on the podcast. Let's get you in the Thunderdome." And firstly, podcast that I had you on. Do you want us to give us a brief, just a brief overview or backstory of how you got into real estate, what you were doing before real estate, and how you got into real estate?
Yeah, so born and raised here in Los Angeles, California. I grew up with a cerebral palsy. In college, I majored in accounting. I always knew that I wanted to be in business. I just didn't know what kind of business I wanted to do. So fast forward, I was doing a client's tax return while I was working for a CPA firm here in Los Angeles. I discovered that they were making a lot of passive income without them doing anything. Um, I'm referring to one of my clients, by the way. So I realized that they were making passive income from the rental property. So that's when I first got interested in real estate investing. Fast forward 2019, I started investing out of state. I started investing in Indianapolis, Indiana. I bought, a few single family homes. And then in 2020, that's when I decided that I want to transition into multi-family. I hired a mentor to teach me the ropes of the industry. I was looking for a deal for 3 years. I couldn't find anything that penciled out. And then finally, just back in August, I closed on a 116 deal.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And like you said, last time you're on, you'd been doing single family, and you told us the backstory of that. Then you said, "Right, I'm going to do multifamily." Now, I haven't actually spoke to you since you've been doing it, so this is a great opportunity for you to tell not just me but the audience that pretty much the transition, what you started doing from when I spoke to you last in multifamily, and how you got to the point where you closed your first big deal. So, do you want to run us through all that, Jason?
Yeah, so a lot of trial and error, a lot of ups and downs. So I remember I had to get through a lot of limiting beliefs. One of my biggest limiting beliefs when I first started was I was I was scared that people would not understand me because of my speech due to my disability. But I realized that that's something that I have to eventually get over. So after probably thousands of calls, we're talking to owners, talking to brokers, talking to other real estate investors, I finally got over that fear. And I must have underwrote, over 300 deals. Um, and then I started working with my current team, which is cash flow champs. And then we found this deal in Atlanta, which is a market that we focus in. And then this is back in May. And then we went through the due diligence process, and then we closed in August. There you go. So the so the whole moral of the story, Graham, is when you're trying to do something great, it doesn't happen overnight,
Yeah.
and the universe, God is going to test you. He wants to see how much do you really want this. Are you going to give up the first time that you're hit with an obstacle? But me, I didn't give up. I went through obstacles and obstacles, but I kept on pushing, and thank God I finally closed in the deal.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. Well done. And it sounds like to me that your limiting belief, you just outworked it. You just outworked it because
Yeah.
you just wouldn't give up. So, I mean, there's a lesson for all of us there is the fact that you spoke to so many people and you looked at so many deals. A lot of people were giving up a quarter of the way through that, but because of the tenacity that you've got and you've already proven in single family, you knew that you just had to keep going, didn't you? You just outworked it.
Yeah, so it's a combination of things, right? First combination is knowing my why. Why am I doing this? I know that a lot of people depend on me. A lot of people look up to me as an inspiration.
Yeah,
So I can't fail people, right? I can't fail my team. I can't fail my family. I can't fail my friends who, who are looking at me for inspiration. And also, my family depends on me, right? And the number two is it's so important to have a strong support system. So one of the biggest cheat sheets that I did was I joined a mentorship program. I must have joined three mentorship programs. However, the mentorship program that really changed the game for me was when I joined the cash flow champs aristocrat mentorship program, because I was able to work with a team who was active in the market today. Um, um, and then I was able to leverage their experience to help me close the 116 deal. So that is my advice to people who are looking to get into the industry, is make sure that you are part of a good mentorship program.
yeah, that's good advice. Is to get yourself around people that are like minded and are also doing and done what you want to do, so that you can be around success. That's what you're saying, isn't it, Jason? You've got to be around success and people
Yeah,
that have got a blueprint how to get to success, how to get there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, good work. And you mentioned your team and all that. So networking. Not only would you have been ringing people, you would have been analysing deals. I reckon you would have been working big hours, but you also would have been networking with people too, wouldn't you? Because
Yeah.
that's a strength of yours as well, is to meet new people, to try and form connections. That's something that you love doing.
Yeah, so I figured the thing that I was doing was first telling my stories on a great podcast like this.
Yeah,
I also have my own meetup here in Los Angeles, where we have anywhere between 20 to 50 people show up every single month, and that we've been doing that for over a year now, because and then also I go to a lot of conferences, a lot of real estate and business conferences, because that's where you will meet like-minded individuals. You never know who you meet at those conferences and the meetups. You might meet your next business partner. You might meet your next investor. You might meet your next partner there. So
Yep.
it's always important to network with people. I know that, you know, for many of us, myself included, when I first started, you know, our biggest limiting belief is rejection, right? We're scared of people rejecting us.
Yeah.
However, if you want to be successful in business, you gotta develop that thick skin and be used to rejection, because you have to remember that for every rejection, you are one step closer to a yes, and all you need is one yes to be successful.
Yeah. That's so true, Jason. It's amazing because you know, we are just as human beings, a lot of times we are scared of rejection from growing up and everything. And the only way to get through it once again is hard work and just you know, facing it, I guess, facing the fear and doing it. And action, this is what you base yourself on, is action is the way to do it, isn't it? Put yourself in the situation, work hard through it. Um, yeah, so that's amazing. I want you, if you can, share with the audience, you know, the process of this big deal you did, like from the start to the finish. If you can just basically paint a picture of all the work you did all the way through to get it to the closing table.
Yeah, so this property was a 106 unit deal. Um, um, First thing that we had to do was to research the market, right? Make sure that the market and the demographics meet our criteria.
Yep.
So one of the things that we look at is the population growth, um, job income of the demographics, and crime. So, so like there's a lot of coordinating with the local property manager. I was reaching out to the locals, making sure that the area is a safe area for our tenants um to live in. And then we flew into the submarket. We went to the property. We toured the property with over 30 vendors.
Yep.
Uh, we made sure that um we made sure that the due diligence turned out fine, which it did. Um, and then they go we went under contract. And then something that they don't teach you is when you're under contract, there's a lot of back and forth w- between you and the broker and your legal teams. So there's a lot of paying attention to detail there. And then finally, we close on August 30th.
Yep. And just going back to your former life before you were a real estate investor, being an accountant,
Yes.
you'd be pretty good at just ticking all the boxes and double checking, wouldn't you? That'd be a strength of yours.
Yeah, so like actually you brought up a pretty good point, right? Which I made myself an asset
Yeah.
to my team, because I was able to bring my accounting background
Yep.
to help us with our financial reporting. And now I am in charge of our financial reporting. making sure that our financial reports are accurate, and we distribute it to our investors on a monthly, timely basis.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
number one thing is the investors, clearly see what that they're in a profitable,
yeah,
successful deal. And you said so it was 116 units, was it?
106.
Oh, 106.
106.
And what's the strategy there, Jason? Uh, are you keeping it and putting tenants in and having it as a buy and hold, or are you going to off sell it, or what's your strategy there? Sort of on the
So, so, on a very high level, without going too much in the weeds, what makes the property attractive is we are assuming a very attractive fixed rate loan.
Yep,
Um, um,
beautiful.
and then the the seller was a smart seller. Was a smart buyer, I meant. However, he wasn't the best operator.
Yeah,
So so he wasn't screening the tenants properly. So there's a big chunk of tenants who were not paying the rent in time.
yep,
So so the biggest value add that we are doing is first of all, we have put in a new property manager to the property. Um, and then we are evicting the bad tenants. And then we are screening and putting in better quality tenants who are going to be better payers, which is going to result into a better operating property.
yeah, yeah. So you know, basically, what's the old saying? Money talks, BS walks. So you've got to get more
Exactly.
money, cash flow coming into the property. There's no point having people there that's not paying. So that's where, like you said, with your knowledge of how finance runs, you'll be keeping an eye on that all the time and trying to make sure that you can get the cash flow up. And just another question. So that was that a sub two deal? Was that a sub two deal that is?
No, no, we actually assumed the loan.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. And is there any major things within that deal that you thought, oh wow, this could fall over or whatever, or um, did you think that you guys as a team had it covered? You had all the bases covered during the process.
Yeah, luckily for us, we are a very experienced team. Our team has over 50 years of our cumulative real estate experience. And then the property manager that we're using has been around since 1989.
Yep.
They manage 9,000 properties across the whole nation, and they manage other properties for us in the Atlanta market. So that's all very important because when you're working on a deal of this size, it's very important for you to work with an experienced team. So luckily for us, uh, we have that. So that's what makes this opportunity more more comfortable for us to be a part of. And another thing is this deal, why it's so attractive is because there was a 7 year fixed debt. So that means that um, whatever happens to the market, and I know there's a lot of fear in the market right now, but whatever happens to the market, we have runway, we have time for the market to recover again before we exit out of the property.
Yep, yep. So you've looked at long term risk and everything,
Yes,
and made sure that you're not in a high risk situation. You've
right.
lowered your risk. That's good. And the other thing I was going to ask you too, Jason, was if there was someone new or someone that's in single family like you were at the moment, and they want to get into multifamily, what would be the number one thing that you give them as advice? Like the number one most important thing that you believe to transition across into multifamily?
You need to be a part of a strong mentorship group.
Yep.
You need to be a mentorship group who's willing to show you how the whole operation of the business works. Everything from how to find a good deal, how to underwrite the deal, how to attract investors to your deal, and then lastly, how to operate that deal so that um, you could execute your business plan. And make sure that you're working with a mentorship program with people who are active in today's market, because a lot of these programs, they're not buying in today's market. They're not selling in today's market. So
Yeah.
therefore, what they are teaching you is outdated. So luckily for me, when I took my mentorship program, which is a cash flow champs
Yeah.
aristocrat mentorship program. This was with a team who was very active in today's market. So I was able to leverage their knowledge. I was able to leverage their experience. I was able to leverage their relationship in today's market.
Yeah. And their brand and that, because they've
Yeah,
been around and their experience. So you could leverage as a new person, you can leverage that. That's got some I guess clout in the industry. So
yeah.
one thing you did mention, and this is really interesting too, is attracting investors. Attracting investors. So that's a really important part, isn't it? Because you need the money. You've got to get the money in, and when you're dealing with massive projects, sometimes you have to um, you have to bring a few people in. Is there a particular method that you guys use to attract um, good investors? Is it just because of the reputation and the fact that they are known in the industry?
So it's a combination of two things, right? So
Yep.
first of all, real estate is 100% reputation business. So
Yep.
So, real estate is a very small world, so their reputation travels fast. So, so that's the first key step is to always make sure that you keep a solid reputation. You do this by being conservative and also being transparent with your investors. Number two is one of my biggest mentors is Grant Cardone, and he always talks about um, tax equals contracts,
Yep.
and and the biggest difference between the word contact and contract is the letter R. And the letter R stands for relationship. So that's why it's very important. That's like what we were talking about um in the beginning of this episode was without me, networking people. It's very important for you to be always be networking with people, and also keeping those relationships warm,
Yep.
um, um, month after month, because you never know who's gonna be wanting to be part of their future opportunities. And how do you keep those relationships warm? One is by posting online. People like to see that you are doing something. Number two is give people a call like once every month, once every 2 months, and just see how they are doing, right? Because because people do business with who they like.
Mm, yep. True. Very true. And you know, look, you've just mentioned Grant Cardone. Well, he's one of his biggest strengths is bringing capital together, raising capital, isn't it? That's one. So you've picked a good mentor also to study as well. Outside of your mentorship, you've said, right, I want to know how Grant Cardone does it, and I want to study it. So I know from, I think you mentioned him in the last time that you come on. So he's someone that obviously inspires you, and he's you've used him, for education. Is there any other people that that you follow, or inspire you, or you've read books about? Is it any other people than Grant Cardone, or you've just basically said, right, Grant's my man, and I'm going to stick with Grant?
So, so, so there are a lot of people that I look up to that I take a piece of their strengths and then apply it to my own personality.
Yep.
But instead of me naming all those people, I'll do something new, right? So like recently, I just learned about Sam Zell. For those who doesn't know who is Sam Zell, um, he was actually one of the few people, few entrepreneurs who became a billionaire strictly from real estate investing.
Yep.
Um, and I'm reading his book right now, and it's very inspirational to learn that his family moved here to the States from Poland um back in the 1940s.
Mm.
He didn't have any money. His dad worked really hard to to get them to the higher middle class, and then from there, Sam discovered real estate investing, which he later turned into a one. I mean, which he later became a billionaire from. So that is somebody who I'm studying right now as we speak.
So you've picked some pretty good mentors, a
Yeah.
billionaire, Grant Cardone as well. So that's good. And the other thing I want to talk to you about is um, your routine and success habits. What have you got in place for yourself? What works for you?
So, so one of the things that I always do is first of all, first thing I do when I open my eyes is I pray. I pray, something I do most of the time, which have to be fully transparent. I have not been doing this week. But I promised myself that I'm gonna start doing it again starting tomorrow. Is waking up at 4:30 a.m. I think that is key. Beating the sun up every single day is key because that sets the tone for the rest of the day. And then lastly, another thing that I do is I always write down my goals.
Yep, that's a good one. That's yeah,
I write down my goals. Um, when I wake up and I write down my goals before I go to sleep. And like the funny thing is, I realized that um my goals started to come true as soon as I started writing them down.
yeah, yep, yeah. That is. I've actually one of my mentors. He was taught that from early days, and he said that's one of the most important things of his success is writing your goals down in the morning and at night. and he swears by it, and he's been highly successful.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't. You said when you wake up from sleep, I didn't think you'd have enough time to sleep with all the stuff that you do, Jason. Like, do you ever? I know you're a big sports fan, and last time you told me, you love shooting hoops. Do you still get time to shoot hoops and relax?
I haven't been basketball since. I don't think that I mean like sometimes I go down and mess around with my friends, but like I haven't played basketball seriously since I think 2007, 2006. That was like the last time that I really played basketball seriously.
Seriously, yeah. We did joke last time you come on, but that if you ever come out to Australia, I'm going to take you to an AFL game.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
Only a couple of weeks ago, my team just won the grand final and premiers, the mighty Collingwood Football Club, the Magpies.
Wow.
And so I've been on cloud nine. But yeah, I did put that on your bucket list. If you ever come out to Melbourne, I'm going to take you to the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and watch an AFL game because I know you love your sports. You love
Yeah.
watching sports, and
And like, that brings up a pretty good point too. Something that I forgot to mention in my daily routine is that I also go to the gym every day,
yeah,
um and I go for a 1 mile run every day as well. And all that is very important because strong body makes a strong mind.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. So yeah, it sounds like you've got great routines and you're very disciplined. And I think maybe being an accountant that you also, like you're very well structured. You're very organized, and you make the most of your time, don't you? You don't just sit around doing nothing. You make the most of your time. So there's some real success hacks for people, to look at. The thing I wanted to ask you is how do people contact you? If there's people out in the multifamily world, investors that are looking for certain multifamily um, properties to invest in, how do people reach out to you?
Yeah, so I would love to connect with you guys for future opportunities. Also, if you want to learn more about our mentorship program, I would love to talk to you about that as well. You can find me on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's all at Jason JasonMalabute, or you can also reach out to my email, which is Jason at cashflowchamps.com.
Cash Flow Champs. So Jason at Cash Flow Champs. Well, that's awesome. And anything else you'd like to add for people that are either watching this podcast or are going to watch this podcast? Is there anything you'd like to leave us with Jason that you know that you think is really important for people in the real estate game? Something that
Yeah, and so I think that there's a lot of fear right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. I think the interest rates continue to stay high. A lot of people are keeping out of real estate right now. However, I just want to remind people what the great Warren Buffett said. He said that he said that be be fearful when people are greedy, and that be greedy when people are fearful. And people are definitely very fearful right now. So as long as you are being conservative, um, I think now is the best time to be in real estate investing.
that is, yeah, I've heard that saying from Warren Buffett before. That is an absolute beauty, isn't it? It's a rip up because it's true. It's true. Now's the time to double down and work harder while everyone else is fearful. That's where the opportunities come from. People are panicking and not thinking straight, and there's opportunities. People don't negotiate as well. They don't play the real estate game as well. So that's great advice, Jason. Look, mate, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that. I'm so glad that, to hear that not only were you successful in your single family, but now you've gone across to multifamily. You've come on and said, look, it wasn't easy. I've had to work really hard and I've had to learn from scratch. But you've closed a 106 apartment deal and with your team, and that's fantastic. So, what does the future hold? What do you foresee with your real estate journey? More multifamily?
Definitely more multi-family. Um, and I just want to continue to inspire people, and if there's people who are looking into getting into real estate, I'm always happy to help and answer any questions that they might have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say this personally. Anyone that's watching, hit Jason up. Not just real estate, but like you said, his story's inspirational. Just hook up with him and have a chat with him. The last time, a year and a half ago, we did the podcast, we jumped on, I think the day before, just to have a chat and meet because we hadn't met each other. We're in a networking group together. We hadn't met. I think it was about 2 hours. Because Jason is a great bloke with a great sense of humor. Like I said, he loves sports, he loves life, he loves people. So it's worth just catching up with and really getting to know Jason, especially if you're in the real estate game and you want to, like, he's worked so hard through since he sort of left the accounting and got into real estate. It's not just his story's inspirational, but it's the complete package. Like he goes to gym, he does all the things that are success habits. But he's just a really good guy. And we talked sports for about an hour of that, didn't we, Jason? We love our sports.
We did, and I cannot wait to go and visit you there so that we can go to some sporting events.
Yep, I'll take you to the Aussie rules footy. You'll love it. You'll love it. But all right, thanks for coming on again, Jason. I'm so glad to hear that you've got a big deal closed, and now you're moving on to more deals. So if there's any investors out there, anyone that wants to, maybe look at mentorships or anything, reach out to Jason. He's just given earlier on his contact details, and just follow him on Facebook or Instagram or something. Just keep an eye on him and see what he's doing, because no one works harder than Jason in the industry, and he is an inspiration to us all. And I appreciate you coming on, and I wish you the best. And I'll get you on another year down the track and see where you might be. You might bring Grant Cardone on with you. You might be partnering up with him by then, Jason.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to our next episode together.
Yeah, awesome. Always a pleasure, mate. And I'll just say, the audience, because of the main man, Jason, you have been thunderstruck. And we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.